I just read it because I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience.
So it's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me.
Blake Lively is reportedly reeling after Justin Baldoni's lawyer dropped a bombshell, an alleged treasure trove of unseen evidence that could completely flip the script in their intensifying legal drama. This high-stakes feud, already a hot topic in Hollywood circles, has taken an explosive turn, with insiders speculating that the newly surfaced materials might rewrite the entire narrative of Baldoni's lawsuit against Lively and Ryan Reynolds. The ripple effect? It's got Tinseltown bracing for shockwaves. While the finer details remain tightly under wraps, whispers from those close to the chaos suggest the evidence might include damning voice recordings, intimate text messages, and even documents shedding light on the raw truth behind the reported tensions. These revelations could finally expose what insiders claim fractured the core of a once ambitious project that had fans buzzing with anticipation. The project itself was a dream come true for readers of a beloved bestseller who were eager to see its heartfelt, emotional story leap to life on the big screen. At the helm was Baldoni, an actor and director celebrated for his ability to bring touching narratives to the forefront. He poured his heart, soul, and significant resources into this adaptation, determined to honor the essence of the book. Excitement hit a fever pitch when Blake Lively joined the cast, her star power and wholesome image fueling expectations for a cinematic masterpiece. But behind the scenes, it seems the story unraveled in ways no one saw coming. Although Ryan Reynolds wasn't officially tied to the project in any formal capacity, his massive clout in the industry and his high-profile marriage to Blake Lively ignited plenty of speculation that he might have a hand in influencing creative or financial decisions. But behind closed doors, the production reportedly faced growing tensions, particularly around key aspects of the script. According to some insiders, Lively raised concerns about the emotional intensity of her role, pushing for changes she believed would better align with her personal brand and signature comedic flair. However, Baldoni, determined to stay true to the soul of the best-selling book, resisted these suggestions. He argued that altering the story's emotional core could dilute its authenticity and undercut the very themes that made the book resonate with fans. As filming progressed, tensions only escalated. One major sticking point centered on the portrayal of the lead character's modest financial background. In the book, the protagonist was written as far from wealthy. Yet on-set photos emerged showing Lively draped in extravagant designer outfits that seemed to clash with the character's humble origins. This discrepancy didn't go unnoticed by fans online, who expressed confusion over the apparent departure from the book's vision. Later, Baldoni alleged in court documents that these wardrobe choices undermined the character's authenticity, compromising the story's integrity. However, Lively's supporters hit back, claiming that her fashion-forward styling was a deliberate choice to modernize the character and make her relatable to today's audiences. Supporters of Lively argue that an actress of her caliber often collaborates closely with creative teams to infuse projects with personal touches, something commonplace in Hollywood. Yet, Baldoni's side insists that these discussions spiraled into heated disagreements, impacting the script's overall vision and tone. So, how did things escalate from collaboration to chaos? Baldoni alleges that Lively's input went far beyond wardrobe decisions, touching on pivotal moments in the screenplay that, in his view, were critical to preserving the novel's emotional depth.
I'm honored, and I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. That's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really like reach in and touch you.
Adding fuel to the fire, rumors began circulating that a major megastar, widely speculated to be Taylor Swift, a close friend of Lively, may have provided new lines or conceptual feedback for certain scenes. While this involvement might have been intended as collaborative, Baldoni claims it further muddied his creative control over the project. Then came the flashpoint that took this creative clash into the legal battlefield. Lively filed a formal complaint, accusing Baldoni and his team of creating a hostile work environment when she requested changes. She claimed her concerns were ignored, and instead of addressing them, Baldoni's camp allegedly tried to discredit her. In response, Baldoni hit back with a staggering $400 million defamation and interference lawsuit. The suit wasn't just directed at Lively, but also included Reynolds and several other key figures within their professional circle, sending shockwaves through Hollywood and intensifying the feud to a whole new level. Baldoni fiercely denied Lively's allegations, claiming they were nothing more than baseless smears aimed at either wresting control of the adaptation from him or damaging his reputation so severely that he'd be forced to step aside. Meanwhile, fans who had once been overjoyed at the prospect of seeing their beloved story brought to life began to grow disillusioned, especially as it became clear that production delays were inevitable. The feud only intensified as both sides lobbed accusations, making it clear that neither seemed interested in a peaceful resolution. But the real shock came when Reynolds' name was dragged into the legal filings. According to Baldoni, Reynolds was far from a passive observer. He allegedly acted as a behind-the-scenes force, critiquing lines, advocating for comedic moments, and consistently siding with Lively in ways Baldoni perceived as punitive rather than collaborative. Baldoni went further, accusing Reynolds of amplifying Lively's influence to the point where even routine decisions, like location scouting or approving final scripts, became painstakingly slow. Every choice, Baldoni claims, had to meet Lively's approval, with Reynolds' star power reinforcing her control. Adding to the tension, Baldoni alleges he faced pointed personal critiques, including accusations that he dismissed Lively's insights into certain character arcs, claims he vehemently denies as inconsistent with their earlier friendly rapport. The simmering frustrations reportedly boiled over during a tense meeting at Lively and Reynolds' home. Baldoni had hoped to discuss stunts for a pivotal rooftop sequence, but the gathering became a flashpoint for the unraveling trust and growing animosity that now defines this high-profile battle. Baldoni claims the meeting at Reynolds and Lively's home spiraled into a heated confrontation, with Reynolds allegedly taking the lead in an argument over how to choreograph a physically demanding lift or dance sequence. According to Baldoni, the tension escalated when he suggested minor training adjustments to ensure the stunt could be performed safely and comfortably. Reynolds, however, reportedly took the comment as a veiled criticism of Lively, sparking a sharp exchange. Baldoni insists his intentions were purely practical, aimed at prioritizing safety on set. But voices were raised, and the standoff ended with the scene being scrapped entirely.
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just like just keeps away from her.
Lively's lawsuit, however, paints a different picture. Her legal team describes the incident as part of a broader pattern of negativity that allegedly surfaced whenever she tried to offer improvements or raise practical concerns about the production. Now, with the revelation of new evidence from Baldoni's lawyer, the narrative may take another dramatic turn. Insiders suggest Lively is deeply concerned that text messages or voice recordings might surface, potentially undermining her claims of feeling cornered and silenced on set. If these records reveal casual, friendly exchanges, marked by jokes, mutual excitement, or collaborative discussions. It would starkly contrast with her claims of being subjected to an oppressive environment. Those familiar with the production recall that early interactions between Lively and Baldoni appeared supportive, brimming with enthusiasm and shared creative vision. Such a revelation could change everything. Some sources even recall Lively praising Baldoni's dedication to capturing the story's emotional depth in earlier stages of the project. Baldoni's legal team seems poised to spotlight these moments, to emphasize that their working relationship started on a positive note. The underlying claim? That the dynamic shifted drastically, not due to genuine discomfort, but, as Baldoni argues, because of a covert plan to push him out of the picture. The exact role Reynolds played remains unclear. While Baldoni's lawsuit underscores how his influence shaped major creative decisions, Reynolds himself has stayed tight-lipped, relying on official representatives to handle the public fallout. Meanwhile, fresh rumors point to a famous singer, widely speculated to be Taylor Swift, allegedly offering creative ideas that Lively sought to incorporate without Baldoni's prior knowledge or approval. A burning question now is whether Baldoni's newly unearthed evidence includes any explicit references or proof of the singer's involvement. If so, it could bolster the argument that a growing circle of high-profile figures meddled with key moments in the production, sometimes undermining Baldoni's carefully crafted vision for the adaptation. Adding another layer of drama are whispers of a full-blown panic behind the scenes as Lively's team scrambles to manage the fallout from these explosive revelations. Insiders report frantic late-night phone calls and emergency legal meetings, with her attorneys racing to comb through every piece of evidence for anything that might weaken her claims. The stakes couldn't be higher. It remains uncertain how much of this new material will be unveiled to the public versus kept under seal in court, but rumors are flying that the evidence could include time-stamped videos or voice notes, possibly offering a concrete timeline of who said what and when. Baldoni's camp maintains that even a partial release will paint a clear picture, showing that Lively initially had little to no objections to his directorial approach. They argue that her concerns about the plot were minor or easily addressed, at least until the project neared the marketing phase, where external pressures mounted. According to Baldoni's side, Lively's carefully curated public image, shaped by brand endorsements, a vibrant social media presence, and her comedic persona, began driving the push to soften the novel's heavier, emotionally raw elements. Baldoni, fiercely committed to preserving the story's authenticity, frames the conflict as one between staying true to the novel's essence and catering to the marketability of a high-profile star.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious.
Adding fuel to the fire is the claim that Lively may not have thoroughly read the novel. Baldoni's filing alleges she discovered key character traits through quick searches rather than a full reading, which he argues undermines her creative authority. If his newly uncovered evidence includes messages where Lively asks about plot points that a thorough reader would already understand, it could strike a serious blow to her credibility. However, Lively's defenders call this irrelevant, maintaining that an actor doesn't need to read every page of a book to deliver an exceptional performance. They argue that partial familiarity, combined with skill, can still create something remarkable. The battle over who holds the moral high ground rages on. Lively's defenders argue that her concern wasn't about not reading the entire book, but rather about modernizing the character's portrayal to align with contemporary tastes and her own comedic flair. What's undeniable, however, is the sheer magnitude of Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit, a figure that dwarfs most Hollywood legal battles and underscores just how seriously he views the alleged defamation and business interference. Baldoni claims that a calculated campaign, supposedly driven by Lively's and Reynolds' publicity teams, aimed to portray him as unprofessional. He alleges that this effort caused investors, sponsors, and distributors to back away from the project, leading to significant financial losses. According to Baldoni's side, the monetary toll is staggering, but the damage to his reputation, a critical currency in the entertainment industry, may be even worse. Reputation is everything in show business, where trust and alliances often dictate future opportunities. For Lively, the stakes couldn't be higher. Her career thrives on a carefully curated public image of relatability, balancing comedic charm with dramatic versatility. If Baldoni's evidence undermines her claims, it could cast a shadow over her sincerity and tarnish the image she's worked so hard to build. Reynolds, too, faces potential fallout. If it's revealed that he leveraged his star power to manipulate the production or pressure Baldoni into relinquishing creative control, his own reputation could take a major hit. Still, the battle is far from over. Lively's team may very well present their own trove of evidence, challenging Baldoni's narrative and bolstering her claims of feeling undermined and mistreated. The stakes for all parties are as high as ever. This entire saga might have stayed behind closed doors if not for the unrelenting scrutiny from fans of the source material. Social media lit up every time on-set photos surfaced, with fans dissecting every detail. Since the novel dealt with deeply emotional themes, readers were fiercely protective of how their beloved characters were being adapted.
Based on a beautiful, really important book, and it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycles in her life and breaks them and ends the circle. And I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence.
Once whispers of rewrites emerged, ones that could potentially trivialize key elements, fan outrage hit a fever pitch. Posts flooded online platforms with side-by-side comparisons of the protagonist's modest lifestyle in the book and Blake Lively sporting extravagant designer shoes on set. Baldoni's lawsuit directly references this social media uproar, arguing that the backlash only added fuel to the already strained relationship between him and Lively. However, his team insists he can't be held accountable for fans pointing out these perceived inconsistencies. Adding yet another twist is the involvement of a major newspaper, which found itself tangled in the drama. Baldoni filed a separate lawsuit against the high-profile publication, accusing it of publishing misleading coverage that amplified the chaos. This legal action, though distinct, may ultimately tie back into the main conflict with Lively and Reynolds. Observers speculate that the case could hinge on articles that repeated unverified claims from Lively's complaint. Claims Baldoni argues unfairly painted him in an unflattering and damaging light. The entanglement of lawsuits, public backlash, and media coverage has taken this dispute far beyond the set, leaving the outcome uncertain and every player under intense scrutiny. Baldoni's supporters argue that he's simply fighting back on multiple fronts, defending himself against what they claim are baseless stories circulating in the press. Meanwhile, the cinematic adaptation at the center of this storm remains in limbo. No one can say for sure if filming will ever resume, or if it does, whether the final product will reflect Baldoni's original creative vision. The longer this legal battle drags on, the less appealing the project becomes to potential sponsors or distributors. Industry insiders speculate that the property might eventually be revived under new leadership, with Lively still attached, but Baldoni effectively sidelined. Others suggest the situation has grown so toxic that no major players will touch it without substantial damage control and image rehabilitation. As for Baldoni's legal team, they've stayed tight-lipped about the specifics of the new evidence they've surfaced, though cryptic hints suggest the documents provide unfiltered proof of how and why the relationship between Baldoni and Lively fell apart. The lawyer behind these revelations reportedly claims the communications dismantle the idea that Lively was blindsided by directorial decisions. Instead, the evidence allegedly portrays her as deeply involved from the beginning, even praising Baldoni's choices, until, as they argue, other external factors shifted her stance. Reports also suggest the documents may include enthusiastic messages from Lively about the storyline. messages that starkly contradict her later complaints. However, Lively's camp has pushed back hard, claiming such texts are being cherry-picked and taken out of context. They argue that one enthusiastic note about a single scene doesn't negate broader concerns she raised about countless other aspects of the production. The narrative tug-of-war continues, leaving the fate of the film and the reputations of its key players hanging in the balance. I don't have anyone with me. That statement, reportedly found in the uncovered materials, may seem simple, but it's fueling intense speculation about the context and Lively's state of mind during the project. However, experts caution that many text messages, especially those exchanged in high-pressure creative environments, are often quick, off-the-cuff notes, lacking nuance or broader context. Still, rumors persist that the newly revealed materials are thorough enough to shed significant light on Lively's perspective throughout the production. The suggestion that she may have privately expressed unwavering confidence in Baldoni's vision, only to later reverse her stance in a dramatic fashion, has sent shockwaves through the industry. Amid these swirling accusations, Reynolds' role in the production remains a hot topic. Did he play a significant part in shaping the screenplay? Was he merely providing moral support to Lively? Or did he actively co-write entire chunks of dialogue? Baldoni's legal filing suggests that Reynolds, either with Lively or independently, authored or heavily influenced certain comedic scenes that were added late in the process. Baldoni argues that these scenes clashed with the film's emotional tone, disrupting the delicate atmosphere he worked hard to maintain. Lively's team, however, dismisses this as an oversimplification. They insist that collaborative input is standard practice on set, especially when big-name stars with sharp comedic instincts step in to refine the script. The debate over artistic integrity versus star power continues to deepen, leaving the truth as murky as ever. The key difference, according to Baldoni, is that the changes pushed by Lively and her circle overshadowed the central themes he was determined to preserve. As the legal battle rages on, one thing is clear. The $400 million figure attached to Baldoni's lawsuit is staggering. To put it into perspective, it's a number that rivals the budgets of some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Legal experts note that defamation cases are notoriously challenging, as plaintiffs must prove a direct connection between the alleged false claims and tangible significant damage. Yet, Baldoni's team appears confident, bolstered by the newly surfaced evidence. They assert that the fallout from this feud has caused measurable harm, both professionally and financially. For example, Baldoni claims that future projects he was negotiating fell apart due to the negative cloud hanging over him. On the other hand, Lively's lawsuit is no small matter either. She argues that her concerns about the script and the on-set environment were misrepresented, portraying her as difficult or out of touch, and damaging her reputation within the industry. This, she claims, has left some filmmakers wary of working with her out of fear of potential conflicts. And that's the story so far. What do you think about these shocking revelations? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your take on this explosive drama. See you on the next one.